What's up, my people? Before we start the show, make sure you like the video, comment on the commentary, and subscribe to the channel. Become a part of the GVG family, because without you, there's no us. And as always, we thank you, and all praises to the Most High. Now let's get into it. What's up, everybody? It's your boy Hally back again. Gvg Podcast, Detroit represented to the day that I die, East Side in the building, and all that good stuff. What up, though? Hope everybody doing good. Hope everybody blessed on today. Thank you for tuning in. I love all y'all. Wouldn't be no us without y'all. You know how we do. We gonna jump right into it. You know I get the points off the phone and then I go off the fly. Today we gonna do it a little different. I'm just going to start off with the scripture and then I'm going to go and, we're going to do what we do. So this one is a, how would I say it? Philosophical debate. That's the right word. Philosophical debate. Genesis 6, verse 1. It states, "And it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them for wives, all of which they chose. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them. The same became mighty men, which were of old men of renown." Wow, right? Wow. So I think when you read the Bible, there's so many passages that are just skipped over because I don't think our mind registers it as reality, I guess. Like some things we read in the Bible is like really true to where we are in our time, or is really true to our actual issues. But there are a lot of things that get glossed over in the Bible because it almost seems like it's fantasy. So if we're talking about the sons of God and the daughters of men, what you notice is if it said the sons of men and the daughters of men, then they both would be human. The daughters of men mean that they are human beings. The sons of God mean that they are not human beings. So I guess you could consider them angels. Some would call them the fallen angels. Some would say the Anunnaki, or, all those other big words that they have for it. And it says that they took them for wives. So basically the angels saw these human women and they were like, oh yeah, I want her. And the other dudes was like, well, I want her. So basically they came down and chose these women as wives. Obviously, they're angels, so they have way more power than a human being. I guess some would say that they can shape shift. They can turn into whatever they want. So you have to, of course, take a physical form to take someone as a wife. It's a difference when you say when God and the Virgin Mary, because they didn't have to get married. But in this case, you're talking about they took them as wives, so they lived their lives with them. And not only that, they did the do, had relations, and the women bore children for these sons of God. So they became mighty men. which were of old men of renown. So a human being and an angel creating something that is half angel, half human, or half not of this world and half of this world. So they created giants. I know that that is such a supernatural explanation, and it's so philosophical that people argue about this stuff all the time. But the same Bible that you and I read, it says that they bore giants. These little human women bore giants. So there were giants in the land. The biggest example of that would be David and Goliath. Goliath had brothers. So this is a passage that's always glossed over. It came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them. So us as human beings, we're being fruitful and multiplying and doing what we do, occupying this earth. And the angels was like, whew, those girls look good. And they came down, took them as wives. They made giants. Not also giants, which I'm not reading the other scripture, but they also, I remember it said they sinned against birds and the beast. And they also created something that wasn't of this world. I'll let you debate that. That's where people say you get all of that prehistoric stuff from. Some people will tell you that the dinosaurs and the saber-toothed tigers and woolly mammoths and all that stuff was around millions of years before us. And some people will tell you that it was around in those times. Some people believe that this is the reason for the flood. That because once the giants and once the angels started multiplying kids with these women, which were not of God's creation. They were of his creation, but not of his creation far as human beings. So when you look at that, a lot of people, or some theologians, believe that this is the reason for the flood. Some of these theologians believe that that is why Noah and his sons and their wives were spared, because they didn't have tainted blood. But every person that was made from those angels and from those human beings had tainted blood. Some say it was a conspiracy by Satan to taint the blood of human beings so that the Christ couldn't be born. But I'm just going back to the elementary of this. How many people knew that it was giants in the Bible? And how many people knew that it talked about it so openly in the first book, in Genesis? And you break down Genesis, the first word in Genesis is gene. Genes. This is what we're talking about in Genesis, genes. We're talking about Adam and Eve and the birth of this and this happening and the splicing of this. And then we get to these giants. We're also talking about genes. The sons of God and the daughters of men coming together. Those are genes. So Genesis is all about genes. It's all about the genetic makeup of us as people. It's all about the genetic makeup of us as people. Did you dive that far into the book? Or was it just, Genesis is about Adam and Eve? Genesis is about the garden and she bit some fruit. That's what you get taught most of the time. She bit some fruit and they saw they was naked and they got covered and then they got kicked out and then everything else happened. Not realizing giants, where they come from. So this is a short view on this one because this is part one. This is part one. I'm definitely going to dive deeper into this, but I just was asking the question. Did you know that there were giants in the earth in those days? Did you know that they were old men of renown? They were strong. They had abilities that normal human beings didn't have. Did you know that Stan Lee got a lot of his characters, his Marvel characters, from the Bible? Is that a coincidence? So if you look at Marvel characters, if you look at DC characters, you will see that a lot of them are superhuman. And not only are they superhuman, they live in our world. And in living in our world, they gain compassion for human beings. And what do? They find a love interest. And when they find a love interest, what happens? Little Supermans are born. Wow. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. That's what happens. So, looking back, these men of renown, these larger than life characters that they were considered grasshoppers to, meaning these people were fast, they were strong, they were big, they could build pyramids, they could build statues. They can do a lot of things that humans couldn't do. Y'all picking up what I'm putting down? Those are just nuggets. Understand this, people. Noah and his family were considered the only people who didn't have tainted blood. So therefore, they were on the ark while everything else flooded, because everything else had tainted blood. So therefore, it couldn't bring forth the Christ but through Noah. God, the Most High, the Creator, Yah, whatever you call him, which I know those names are not of him. I'm saying whoever you call him, flooded the earth because all of the blood on the earth was tainted. And he knew that he could start over again with Noah and his family. Is that far-fetched? Do you believe that? Is that too hard for you to get? Like, is it something where you're saying, nah, that ain't what I read in the Bible? Go back and read it. Go back and read it. And some would say this is how the dinosaurs were wiped out. Some would say this is how those so-called prehistoric creations were wiped out. Not an ice age, but a flood. And that's why they say some of the sea creatures are still alive. Your Loch Ness monsters. Oh, if you look in the Bible, you'll see that there are some creatures of the sea and creatures of the land. And the creatures of the sea are the biggest. I'm just bringing it to you in a way that you hopefully can understand it. Because I know the King James Bible be hard to understand sometimes. You got to ask for some understanding in your spirit. Ask for some understanding in your spirit. Now, my people, I don't want you to go and sit in a corner somewhere, act like you can't live. All I'm asking you is a question. Did you know that there were giants in those days? Did you know that the fallen angels came down, found wives of human women and created giants, and then sinned against the birds and the beast and created other creeping things? And that the flood is what got rid of most of those things. Did you know that those fallen angels were captured and their spirits still live in this earth, yet their physical is somewhere else? Those giants were captured. Did you know this? It's time to put your thinking cap on. Time to put your study hat on. Take the foil hat off and put the study hat on. Understand this on today, my people. This your boy Hally. This is just part 1. We were just reading Genesis 1, 2, and 4. And I just wanted y'all to understand this. Go back to Genesis 6 and start at the first chapter. And just read it slow. Don't read it fast. Read it slow. And then let me know what you think. This your boy Hally. I love all of y'all. It's Gvg Podcast. We bringing forth episodes every Thursday. And we going to keep doing what we doing. So until next time, we'll see you. And don't forget, this is part 1. We bring in the part 2. Were there giants on the earth? Thank you for being a part of this experience. GVG appreciates every single one of you. I hope you came away from this video with a little more perspective, patience, understanding, and purpose. So until next time, we on Christ time.